Cindy McLeish, the Shadow Minister for, if I've got this right, Major Events, Tourism and Sport. Good to check in with you again.
No worries, Ricky. You've got that definitely correct.
Excellent. Well, hopefully what the Andrews government gets correct is a circumstance where the Melbourne Grand Final can be played in Melbourne. When I say the Melbourne Grand Final, the Demons, they may make it, but they may not. They may not get to play in front of a home crowd.
Oh, look, for people that have been waiting, since 1963, I think it is, that are getting a bit ahead of themselves with the Demons, I'm sure that they would love to see it in front of a home crowd. But, all Victorians would love to see the grand final in Victoria. We lost it last year to Queensland. Perth are chomping at the bit. I hear South Australia clearly, and Tasmania would be pretty keen as well. But I think we really need to go all out and make sure that it's held in Victoria.
And understandably, the government would be hoping that you've got COVID-19 and outbreaks under control and that you can have a big crowd. Is it possible you'd have a grand final behind closed doors, or do you think that they'd move it somewhere else where they could have some form of crowd?
Well, that's the risk, isn't it? Because the AFL will want a crowd. Footy fans will want to see it. And depending where you have it, like they had 7,000 people at Cardinia Park in Geelong a few weeks ago. You get more than that, obviously, in Adelaide. But even, in Queensland, the number of people that they can have is not even a half-full MCG. So, maybe we don't need it chockers, but we'd certainly like to have a crowd. And the government need to give us an indication of what sort of targets and levels we need to be at for that to happen.
Yeah, and we're hearing that across our broadcast areas, interstate as well. The business community, small business, cafe owners, restaurants, etc., they're frustrated that the government won't give an indication that, well, when we've got this level of vaccination or whether we've got this level of restriction, what will be triggered by that. It seems to be entirely dependent on this health advice and or what the Premier of the day decides will or won't be the restrictions.
Look, that seems to be pretty well the case, Ricky. The vaccination rate is increasing all the time, which is a good thing. They could use rapid testing. People who've got a ticket could get tested, the day before. They get their turnaround in 15 minutes if that was acceptable. That's another option as well. But the Premier has mentioned, cases within the community are what's important rather than known and already in isolation. But, what do we need to have? 5 days of zero community transmission? Do we need to have 2 weeks of zero community transmission? These are things that, we need to know, and people really need to be looking forward to something, that light at the end of the tunnel too. Yeah,
that's, I guess, a bit of that carrot opportunity, dangling that we really want the grand final there. And you mentioned last time we spoke about the Royal Melbourne Show had cancelled, and they were only a few days away from the grand final, so there'd have to be some nervous people at AFL House.
Look, there would be, but, we're at the 10th of August now. The grand final last Saturday in September. We're 6-7 weeks away from that, 6.5 weeks away. Lots can happen, and we need to absolutely know what targets we need to be meeting and what the plan is so that we can have that grand final in Melbourne.
Yeah, well, we've got an inquiry in with the Premier's office about the situation with the grand final and just how that it might get there. But the other question we've asked is, well, what happens to the Melbourne business / hospitality community that misses out on another grand final? Is the government going to have to help them out because they've missed out yet again?
That's right. We still get the grand final holiday in Victoria on the Friday regardless. Last year it was pretty well in the middle of lockdown and the businesses hadn't had an opportunity to trade for ages, and they still had the public holiday. So for many of them were closed. It certainly was no bonus.
Yeah.
That's going to be the same this year.
That's the great irony.
We'll get the holiday regardless.
Yeah, the irony is that Andrews government created that public holiday for Grand Final Day, and could be for the second year running. It's to watch it on the telly somewhere else.
Yep, that could be. That could be.
Yeah.
That could be. With the no Grand Final parade, that being at Marvel, that's going to really lose a lot of the pizzazz that is normally associated with it. We want to be able to have the Olympians come back and perhaps have a parade for them as well. We just need to be clear, because event organisers, they're already jumping through hoops to have safe events, and we need to make sure that that can continue.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make about parades for athletes. You almost need to present the keys to the city to an athlete on a video chat.
Not the same, is it?
No, it's nowhere near the same.
We really like to come out and support them.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Cindy, thanks for your time today. Appreciate that, and do keep us informed if there's movement on this front.
I will.